You're in a meeting and your boss gives you some blunt feedback. Logically, you know it's constructive, but your heart starts pounding. You feel that awful pit in your stomach, and all you want to do is just disappear. You're not just reacting to your boss, you're reacting to the echoes of the playground, those bullies you thought you left behind decades ago. In moments like that, it's like they're right there in the boardroom with you, whispering the same old lies. We tend to think of bullying as just a rough part of growing up, something that ends once you get your diploma. But what if it doesn't? What if the taunts, the exclusion, and the fear carved invisible scars that are still dictating your reactions, your relationships, and how you see yourself today? The science on this is shockingly clear. The impact of bullying is persistent and it is pervasive. In fact, one landmark study followed people for over 40 years and found that the negative effects of childhood bullying are still completely visible well into middle age, affecting everything from mental health and relationships to even financial success. This isn't about needing to just get over it. This is about understanding a deep-seated wound that may have shaped who you are. And today, we're going to drag those hidden wounds into the light and talk about the first real steps toward finally healing them. So, what are these invisible scars, really? They're the deep-seated psychological patterns that bullying programs into our minds. This goes way beyond bad memories. It's a fundamental blow to our sense of safety and self. For so many, this shows up as chronic mental health struggles. Study after study shows that adults who were bullied as children have much higher rates of anxiety, depression, and even symptoms of PTSD. And while statistics vary, some estimates suggest that as many as a third of all people have experienced bullying at some point. For a huge portion of them, the mental health effects are serious and they last. Some research even suggests that when it comes to long-term mental health, the damage from bullying can be just as harmful as child abuse. And it's not just in our heads, it shows up in our bodies. Unexplained headaches, trouble sleeping, even chronic pain can often be traced back to the constant state of high alert that bullying forces a child's nervous system into. But the damage doesn't stop there. It seeps into every corner of our lives. Socially, it can make trusting other people feel next to impossible. Friendships can feel like a minefield. Romantic relationships can be sabotaged by a deep-seated fear of rejection or a subconscious pull toward unhealthy dynamics that feel familiar. Academically and professionally, the impact is just as real. Adults who were bullied are more likely to have lower educational attainment. Bullied men, in particular, are more likely to face unemployment and earn less than their peers. This has nothing to do with their capability, but it's a direct result of a childhood spent feeling worthless and afraid. It's a quiet epidemic of stolen potential, and it all stems from those moments of cruelty in the schoolyard. So let's get real about what this actually looks like in your adult life. The goal here isn't to make you feel worse, but to make you feel seen. Because these patterns thrive in the dark, and shining a light on them is the first step. Does any of this sound familiar? You're in a relationship with someone who is kind and supportive, but you're just constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. You find it hard to be your real self, terrified that if they see all of you, they'll leave. That anxiety, that difficulty with trust in relationships, is a classic hallmark of bullying trauma. The bully might be long gone, but their voice has become your own inner critic, constantly questioning if you're worthy of love. Or how about at work? You finally get that promotion, but instead of feeling proud, you're just drowning in imposter syndrome. You see every piece of feedback not as a chance to grow, but as proof that you're not good enough. Maybe you avoid speaking up in meetings or shy away from leadership roles. Not because you can't do it, but because the child inside you is still terrified of being singled out and humiliated. That feeling of being powerless becomes a blueprint for your career. This internal bully is probably the most damaging scar of all. It's that voice that tells you you're too much or not enough. It's the engine driving that crippling need to be a people pleaser, where you throw your own needs and boundaries out the window to avoid conflict. It's the wave of shame that crashes over you when you make a tiny mistake. This isn't just low self-esteem, it's an internalized oppression. You end up continuing the bully's work for them, long after they've forgotten your name. You might even find yourself in a cycle of self-sabotage, never quite letting yourself succeed or be happy, because deep down, some part of you still believes you don't deserve it. This is the ghost of the playground, and it haunts the hallways of our adult lives, quietly steering our choices and robbing us of our peace. If any of this is hitting home for you, if you're hearing your own story in this, please know you are so far from alone. This is a shared experience for millions of adults. A powerful first step can be just sharing that experience. If you feel comfortable, let us know in the comments one way you've seen these scars show up in your own life. It's a way of saying this happened and it was real. And if this is a conversation you want to be a part of, consider subscribing. We're building a community here dedicated to turning these scars into strengths. Okay, so after seeing how deep this runs, the big question is, what do we do about it? Let's talk about how to start healing. This isn't about erasing the past. It's about relearning how to live so it no longer controls your present. Here are the first steps on that journey. The very first step, and honestly the hardest, is to give yourself permission to call it what it was. You have to stop minimizing it. It was not just kids being kids. It was a traumatic experience that had a huge impact on you, and it was not your fault. Now, you have to learn to treat yourself with the kindness you didn't get back then. This is all self-compassion is. It just means treating yourself the way you'd treat a good friend who was hurting. When that inner critic starts up, you can learn to pause and just ask, "This is really hard right now. How can I be kind to myself in this moment?" Self-compassion is the antidote to the shame that bullying leaves behind. For years, the bully's version of you has been running the show. It's time to write a new one. This means consciously shifting your focus from being a victim to being a survivor. Acknowledge the incredible strength it took to get through that. You can start by journaling. Write down the lies the bullies told you, and then, right next to each one, write the truth. Lie, you're worthless. Truth, I have inherent value with my own unique strengths. You are not that helpless child anymore. You are an adult, and you have the power to define who you are. While self-help is powerful, some wounds really need a professional guide. Therapy is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of incredible strength. Finding a therapist, especially one who specializes in trauma, can be life-changing. Things like cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, are really effective for this. CBT helps you identify those automatic negative thoughts, the bully's voice, and systematically challenge and change them. Trauma-focused therapies can help you process the core emotional pain in a safe way, freeing your nervous system from being stuck in the past. Finding a support group can also be a game changer, reminding you that you are not on this journey alone. Finally, you can build a toolkit of daily practices that build resilience. Mindfulness and meditation are proven ways to calm an anxious nervous system and create a little bit of space between you and your reactive thoughts. It teaches you to notice your feelings without being swept away by them. Learning how to be assertive and set healthy boundaries is also vital. This is how you teach yourself, on a gut level, that you are allowed to take up space, to have needs, and to say no. Every time you set a boundary, you are healing the part of you that was taught it had no right to have them in the first place. The scars your childhood bullies left are real. They are not a sign of weakness or a failure on your part to get over it. They are the imprints of a trauma that you survived. For years, you might have felt like you had to carry these wounds alone, in silence. But you don't. By acknowledging the pain, rewriting your story, seeking support, and building your own resilience, you can begin to heal. It's a journey, for sure. There will be good days and hard days. But know this: the child you were deserved protection and kindness, and the adult you are now has the power to give that to yourself. The echoes of the playground might never fade completely, but you can learn to turn down their volume and amplify the voice of your own strength, your own compassion, and your own wisdom. Healing is possible, and it can start today.